This is a book about arguably the most famous person in history. There are more books about Jesus Christ than practically anyone else, and there are still books being written by the hundreds every year. And yet, I find him to be one of the most misunderstood, misrepresented individuals. And I've wondered why that is. If he's so well known, how is it that he's actually not well known at all?
What was it about Jesus that attracted crowds to listen to him? Miracles? The force of his moral teaching?
There seems to be a real inability on the part of many people to take the texts as honest records of what actually happened.
Gospels for the 21st Century is a refreshing new effort to present the New Testament at its word. It weaves the four gospel accounts into a single compelling story, the story of Jesus Christ. Chapter 1. Jesus humbled himself and was born in the likeness of men. Chapter 2. Early in his ministry, Jesus taught the core of discipleship in the greatest moral discourse of all time.
I think it's very important to have visited the places where the events that we read about in the New Testament took place. And I've been fortunate to be able to do that, making documentaries on many of these subjects in places like Palestine and Israel today, visiting many of the same places that Christ would have walked and taught. I can understand why people have turned away from traditional religion. But I think reading the New Testament texts for what they actually say takes you into a different place.
Chapter 6. Jesus taught that a careful process of dispute resolution could heal damaged relationships.
The illustrations in this work were commissioned in London. They do not show people in costume from the first century. They show people in modern dress. It's an attempt to make what we read in the four Gospels relevant to today.
Chapter 7. Jesus pointed out that it's what's inside a person that matters, not what is on the outside.
I found that by taking the New Testament texts at their word, an entirely different picture emerges. Christ becomes a very different person. The individual disciples become quite different people. They're not the people of medieval paintings.
Chapter 10. Judgment will ultimately be decided on the basis of our attitude toward God and our fellow human beings, as demonstrated by our actions.
I hope that believers and non-believers alike would be interested in this book because it sets a very different goal, and that is to take the New Testament record as it is.
Gospels for the 21st Century may surprise you, and it will open the door to a more accurate and enlightened reading of the world's most popular book.